What should happen to them in terms of punishment?
Steel cage grudge match in the offseason, pay-per-view, right? That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not only is it the second straight year, it's the second straight year it happened in Oakland. So clearly, as the coaches were alluding, this was personal. There you see the chain going down one more time by Aqib Talib. I did like the finish of the block by Crabtree, though. But that's it. Then take your 15 yards and don't do that. By the way, you should never throw a punch when your helmet is off and his helmet is on. Okay, that's basic.
I'll say this. First and foremost, because people ask me all over Twitter world, I said it was a great job finishing the block. In all honesty, these two have history. Finish the block like he did, take your 15 yards and get your butt back to the huddle. Now you started trading punches. You're going to get suspended a game for the punches. You both should probably get suspended a game for stupidity of throwing punches, quite honestly. It's one of the dumbest things in the world to do, but we got to have our testosterone test out there where guys can't be smart enough to walk away from that, because all you do is cost your team, and then your teammate Gabe Jackson and Michael Crabtree has to go over and try and help out. He ends up pushing an official. He may get the worst of all, because that's something you got to take really serious when you push the official. So game for throwing punches, maybe another game for stupidity, because that's what it is when you take it that far.
Stephen A. is all about the stupidity tax, right, Stephen A.?
Well, no question about it. I think it should be a two-game suspension for both players for all the reasons that Wingo and Golic articulated. But I'm going to go to route of Vance Joseph, the coach for the Denver Broncos. You know, you can't allow personal feelings and personal animus to get in the way of the team, and that's what transpired yesterday. This is something that obviously has been ongoing. Aqib Talib, that was Bush League for pulling off his chain. He did it before. He should not have done it then. He shouldn't have done it again. There's no excuse for it. Crabtree got to keep his emotions in check. We get that. But in the end, two guys put their personal feelings ahead of the team. And when you do something like that, particularly in Denver's case with Aqib Talib, then that really, really costs you. They're 3-8 on the season. This is a team that's third in points in yards allowed, fourth against the rush and the pass, but 27th overall in defense. It shows you their frustration because your offense is so putrid. It puts the defense in a very, very bad spot, and that has a lot to do with what's been ailing for the Denver Broncos. But you're Aqib Talib, and you know this, and that may feed the frustration that you displayed yesterday. You might have taken it out on a known nemesis, but there's still no excuse for it whatsoever. I think it calls for a two-game suspension, especially for Aqib Talib, at least a one-game for Crabtree.
Yeah, I don't have a horse in this race, you know? So I have to separate my personal from my professional feelings about this, I guess. And like Trey, you had some fun with it. Do I personally, does it make it more interesting? Yeah. Do I like to see two guys scrapping? It means they're competitive. It's a genuine grudge. They're playing for something more than just, you know, the game. They really don't like each other. Maybe they'll play harder. It's a full contact sport. One covers the other. It's just the kind of competitive fire you like to see. So personally, it makes this game more interesting to me. I'm like, ooh, he got him. You know, even the idea he snatched his chain last year. Oh, he did it again. Oh, wait a minute, because he got sucker punched with an uppercut to the gut on the previous play. Like, all those things are more interesting, but they each need to be suspended. I think a game is good. It's a big percentage of a 16-game season, obviously, but you have to suspend them. And the reason you have to suspend them is because football's violence already is going to be an issue going forward. You know, culturally, the NFL's going to have to figure out a way that doesn't marginalize the league, the violence. You can't have gratuitous, unnecessary violence. And if you do, I don't think self-policing is the way to go. If you don't suspend them, then you're the NHL. And the NHL, you know, they got 20,000 fans who show up in every town, and those are the fans in every town. It's a much, much smaller league. Part of that may be that the culture of the NHL appeals to its base, but it's more difficult to expand than the NFL or the NBA, and I don't think you want to emulate the NHL in this way. I don't think self-policing is the way to go. As fun as it is, you know, in the moment, I think the more sensible option is to suspend both guys. I think, you guys say 2 games, I could go with that. I'd say a game for each guy.
Well, look, there's another issue here, and it goes to both Crabtree and Talib, is that not only is it personal for them and they took it, is it a lack of disrespect for their coaches, okay? Because that's really a larger issue here, because they decided whatever the game plan was, that's not what's most important to me. What's most important to me is extracting revenge. And this was the first drive, 3 games into the game. So Crabtree had already let Aqib get in his head before this happened, going back to last year.